Hello, welcome everybody. Surprise live today. I did try to let some of you know in my Facebook stories, but just in case you didn't see it, always check my stories because I usually always put my quick go-to announcements in that section. So welcome on in. My name is Tracy Campbell. This is my page, My Sweet Home Living. If you are new to my page, I would love to know. If you are a loyal follower, friend, let me know that you're here. And everyone, let me know where you're tuning in from today. Hopefully I'll be able to see comments today. You just never know how it's gonna go. So we'll see how it goes today. I do see that Miss Pat Raleigh and Miss Karen Hawthorne is watching. Let's see, I'm not sure if I'm gonna see comments. We'll see. I see Miss Mavis is hopping on. I did bring an iPad to connect to just in case. Maybe it'll help me see comments. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like we're gonna see comments. I see 22, 26 eyes watching today. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I have a fun project I think you're gonna like, of course. Because why? Because you all have been asking for it. You've been asking for it and asking for it. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a project, and I can't remember now which project it was, but it was something to do with, it was the biscuits. It was when we made the biscuits, which are right behind me. I don't know if I can grab one with that. You can see a little peek of them right there. I have a little bowl of the faux biscuits. Well, with the faux biscuits, I created something else to go with it to kind of make a prop, and I didn't do it on a live. And so I've had several of you asking, how did you do it? You know, show me how, or where did you get this, or that kind of thing. So that's what we're doing today, because you have been asking for it. If there are things that you want to see, reach out and let me know. Send me a message. I'm always happy to see what we can do to help everybody out. If you're interested in a particular project, there, I can see comments now. I can see some comments on my iPad, so that'll work. I typically don't like to have my iPad right here in front of me, but hey, if it means that I can talk and see you guys in the comments, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Hello, Miss Patty and Lenore, Emma, and Ann. Let's see who's here. Hello from West Michigan. Cheryl, welcome on in. If you are new today, let me know that as well. I know we've had lots of new follower friends lately. So anyway, wait, before we go on to today's project, did you miss what we made yesterday? We made something so cool. You all been asking for those as well, the pantry tarts. So I showed you guys how to make the faux pantry tarts, making a little salt dough mixture with coffee and cinnamon, and you can add allspice as well. But we made some pantry tarts. Okay, I showed you how I like to style mine. I gave you some new fresh ideas as well, and you can see my little pantry tarts right back here in my little vintage kitchen scale. I have paired with some little rose hips, cinnamon scented rose hips. I'll spit that out in a second. And but this one I put in a little mini cast iron pan. This came from the Dollar General, you guys. My Dollar General, I have two Dollar Generals that are super close, and those are the ones I go to the most. And they both have these little mini cast iron items right now, which you saw me use one of the cast iron little dishes for my faux cinnamon rolls. Well, I bought this one yesterday. This one was $3. And this one I think was $5, but it's a nice size. And I don't know what the diameter is. I'm going to say probably maybe 7-inch round or 6. I don't know. I already took the tag off. Probably a 6-inch in diameter, but it fits this little pantry tart perfect. So I gave you some tips on how to make a pantry tart, how to style them, and if you have some old ones, how to refresh them later. Okay, so if you missed that, go back on my page and the replay will be there on my page for you to see. Now, Miss Sheila, she's loving all those cast iron pieces. I know. Some of you asked where to find those in the Dollar General. I found them in my Dollar General, both of the places that I have found them. They're kind of in this odd section where they have a lot of miscellaneous home decor, like all crammed on some shelves. If I can get a chance to, I'll try to. I don't know if I get very good signal in either one of my dollar stores, Dollar Generals. But I would love to show you where they're at, but it's just a weird, odd aisle. It's sort of close to where they have the candles, and then another section where they have a lot of like drink tumblers and like glassware, plates, and dinnerware and things like that. They're all kind of shoved on the shelf. They're not like, you can't see them very easily. You kind of have to dig and look for them. So that's where I grabbed mine. Let's see who else is here. Miss Holly, Miss Diana, thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate you all so much when you do that. Helps me out so much. So let's slide this off to the side, and without further ado, let's get to today's project. So I pulled out some containers. You all know I've been all about reusing, repurposing jars and containers and things like that lately. Well, today is going to be the perfect example for how to do that. So I pulled out several containers. I've got this big Country Time lemonade container, which it looks like our screen is backwards, which is not too big of a deal. We don't have anything too crucial today. There we go. So this Country Time cardboard type container is perfect for this. You could use Pringles chips. Those are good containers. Something like this, like breadcrumbs. This is perfect because it has that cardboardish type cylinder. And then oats. Now, in fact, the one that I created several weeks ago, I used an actual Quaker Oats container. Now, the difference between the Quaker Oats container and this generic store brand container is the lid. Of course, this one has just the plastic lid. This one has a plastic lid. This is the Quaker Oats container, but it comes, the way it attaches is so much, I don't know, looks cooler because you don't see quite that much plastic on it because it fits down inside the container and actually looks like a metal lid, I think, you know, like the true like tin containers, you know, that seasonings and spices used to be stored in. Anyway, you can kind of get the gist, and I'll show you a trick today. If you don't want to use that kind of plastic of a lid like this, I'll show you a way around it, okay? So let's see who else is here. My comments look like they may have, hey, Miss Gretchen and Maureen, Roxanne, how are you? Okay, so what I have done, I used this Country Time lemonade. Let me move these out of the way since I kind of showed you some examples to kind of get your mind rolling. I'm using the Country Time lemonade container, and this is a 63-ounce size container, okay? I'm lucky that I can find those at one of my local grocery stores, and I love them for this kind of purpose. We can reuse them. So I have given it just a basic coat of some spray paint. You could probably use any kind of Rust-Oleum type, hammered effect type spray paint. Okay, I have found this one at one of my local Walmarts, and I've kind of fallen in love with it. It has a really cool color to it. It's called Root Beer Float. Okay, and it's kind of cheaper than the Rust-Oleum brands. So if you have it, you may want to check it out. And it gives really good coverage. In fact, all I had to do was one coat of that on this Country Time lemonade container. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do to prepare for that, you're right, I think the Quaker Oats container does look really cool, how it has that lid. I think so too, Miss Sheila. But you use what you have, right? And I'm going to show you a way that you can work around it if you don't even want the lid to be visible. I'll show you kind of how I do it. Kind of how I do some of my jars, the lids on the jars. All right, so you all know that I have fallen in love with an Etsy designer. She has a shop on Etsy, and her shop is called Chocolate Rabbit. If you've been following my page for any amount of time, you know I've been talking about this lady. I need to find out her name. I can't remember if her name is on any of the things that are listed on her shop or not. But she has some beautiful printable designs. I love them because they come usually in like sets of multiples for like $3 or $4. You purchase it once. Well, guess what? You can print them as many times as you want. So you can make the same project 10 times over. So if you do craft shows, craft fairs, and things like that, it's very cost efficient. So I just purchased just this morning one of her, I don't know if it's new, but it's a new set to me. It's one of the sets that I have not purchased yet. But you could definitely, if you've purchased a set, you can reuse some of the same labels that you've already purchased, okay? Because many of you, I have referred you to her. But this one is cornmeal. So I thought this would be kind of a neat little matching set to our baking powder tin. And we'll do another one in this one. So we'll see. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I don't know, the finish on that one looks a little bit different than this one. It could actually just be my container. But anyway, usually I like to feather the edges of my labels when I feather tear them, just so that it has a little bit softer of an edge. And I think I'm going to do that today too. I thought at first I wasn't, but I've changed my mind. Crafters change their mind all the time, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my coffee grounds. You can do it with just basic water. All I have handy is, of course, my coffee grounds. So I'm going to wet the edges just a little bit so that that paper tears nice and feathery. That's not going to really be real easy with that little brush. Let's try this brush. I just grabbed a few little brushes. I'm going to feather tear the edges, which means I have to go down the edge and wet the paper and let that soak in. And it makes that paper just real soft and tender, and it just pulls apart so perfect, and you don't have that straight edge. Because I think a little bit of feathered edge looks a little more natural when it comes to rustic type projects. So we'll let that soak in. We're going to give these a good tear. I'm going to take a peek at the comments, which have stopped. Oh, there they go. Miss Sherry, how are you? Thank you for commenting and letting me know you're here. Even the comments on my iPad aren't really wanting to work so well either. But if I swipe them across and back, sometimes it wakes them up. Now, I printed this on my home printer, just their standard inkjet printer. This particular design set of labels, they do come with this already vintage color to them, but I always like to kind of give them another coat of the coffee grunge just for good measure. For one, it does kind of enhance, I think it enhances the colors. And then for two, it gives it that wonderful smell. If you are not familiar with the coffee grunge mix that we've been using, which is kind of taken over a little bit. I've got so many of you all hooked on this, which is so fun. But it's a cup of hot water, a half a cup of instant coffee. I hope I didn't get those wrong, backwards. 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of vanilla. Store it in just a reusable glass jar in your refrigerator when you're not using it. Take it out, pop the lid off, warm it up a little bit, shake it up, and then it's ready to go whenever you're ready to use it for your next project. Little fly was zooming around here. Okay, so here's what we have so far. I'm going to take just a cheapy chip brush and dip it in my coffee grunge right there so you guys can kind of see that. And all we're going to do is just a quick swipe over. You can already see how it enhances those colors. Is that not cool? Now, obviously you can do more than 1 layer, but I think one is plenty. And all it does is enhance those colors. Now, of course, it is wet, so it is going to appear a little bit darker. It's going to dry lighter, but it just enhances those colors. You can see the before and after, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and it gives a wonderful smell. And you can add more things to it if you want to add allspice or like a collection of allspice, or you could use like the apple pie spice blend, the pumpkin pie spice blend, to kind of get a good little combo going. But it's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, now we're going to put the lid back on this because we want to not make a mess. And we're going to pick this up. We are going to give this a quick dry. Let me see if I can set it on here. And it will dry super quick. I mean, super quick. This paper is just standard printer paper. Hey, Miss Sherry, how are you, sweet friend? I see Roberta is watching. I see Miss Terry is watching. Let's see. Oh, I saw somebody said something about coffee grunge. Coffee grunge is awesome. I tell you, once you start using it, it's really kind of fun and addictive for so many reasons. You can use it on fabric, paper. We've used it on wood. I even used it. I've used it in my Mod Podge with my acrylic paints, and I also used a little bit to kind of coat some of these brand new little cast iron pieces. Kind of works out perfect. We've used them on our fake bakes, our fake pumpkin pie, our fake cinnamon rolls. Oh my gosh, you guys, all kinds of things. We use them on our fake pancakes and biscuits. Lots of things that you can use these for. So this coffee grunge for. So don't feel like you're limited. I mean, it's just basically a liquid mixture, and it dries So anything you want to add a little bit of a vintage color to and a little bit of a fragrance to, go for it. Try it out. You can even dip some floral, like fake florals, stems in them. That kind of gives like a rustic color, vintage color to some floral stems. If you're doing a floral arrangement and you want a vintage look, you can do that too. Isn't that cool? Hello, Miss Mary. Oh, we have a newbie in the house. Renee, first time watcher. Let me know where you're tuning in from. How long does the coffee grunge last? Honestly, I've never had a batch go bad because I typically use it within 2 to 3 weeks. So I really can't vouch for it beyond that. As long as when you take it out, you're pretty diligent about putting it back in the fridge when you're finished. It lasts for a long time. I mean, and it's not like you're consuming it as far as like an edible, so you don't have to worry too much about it. But I've never had a batch go bad. I make a size like this each time. In fact, this might be a little bit more than a batch. This might be a batch and a half. But if you keep a small batch handy, you can go through it quicker, so you don't have to even worry about it going bad, honestly. Thank you all for welcoming Miss Renee. What type of paper do we print on? I use an inkjet printer, Miss Lori, and this is just standard copy printer paper. Nothing fancy whatsoever. Nothing fancy. We keep it pretty plain and simple around here. All right, so what I'm going to do next, and you know what? I'm looking at this one that I created, and I'm almost thinking I must have used a different color on this. This has a little bit more of the hammered effect, and I'm wondering if maybe I didn't use a Rust-Oleum on that one. I'm thinking I may have. Oh well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge right here on my plate, maybe. And we'll see what kind of effect we can get. I've got an idea that we can do. I always like to, sometimes I like to add some instant coffee crystals to my Mod Podge. You all have probably seen me do that before, and gives it that grungy look. I should have brought some of that to the table today. I did not grab it. I am gonna put a little bit of this coffee grunge mix down and add that to my Mod Podge, just a tiny bit. It just kind of tints it a little bit, and not that, I mean, Mod Podge will dry clear, but instead of it drying clear, it'll kind of give it more of a vintage look as well when it dries. It's not absolutely necessary, just an optional step. I really wish I had some of that coffee or instant coffee, because that'll kind of give us a little bit of a grubby appearance. So I've trimmed this label down, and you can enlarge these printables, and to be honest, not a lot of it is going to show. You can enlarge these printables, shrink them, print them to size, you know, to print to any size label or container, to fit any container that you are going to put it on. All right, we're going to put a light coat of Mod Podge down. And I was looking at my container because it looks like I had a little spot where it was bent, but I think we're fine. We are fine. We are good. All right, I think we got it big enough. We'll see. And I'm just going to center that. I printed mine a little large, you guys. Not going to lie. I printed it a little large. Ideally, I would have liked to probably printed it a little bit smaller, but I was in sort of a time crunch, and I thought, you know what? It'll work. It'll work. I'm going to smooth this down. If I get wrinkles, I am okay with it, because if you've ever seen vintage containers, you guys know that the labels, I mean, they have wrinkles in them. It shows their age. Not any different than us human beings. Okay, I'm smoothing it down, making sure that it gets good contact with that Mod Podge underneath. I see a little spot that we need to add some more. Okay, smoothing it down. Let me see, who am I missing here? My comments just keep starting and starting, guys. I know, some of you all are If you don't mind me asking, I forgot, when crackling with Mod Podge, do you dry it first? Lisa, you know what? It's really funny. I have never done that method intentionally. But I think you half dry the Mod Podge. If I'm not mistaken, I think you half dry it so that it is still a little bit tacky, but not completely dry. You all correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, Miss Wendy, I see your comment. You need to save some cans, girl. Yes, ma'am. And this one's not even, the brown is not going to show a whole lot on the back, so I don't have to worry too much about my spray paint not being quite the right color. All right, because this is going to be the front. And look, that pretty much takes up the whole front. Well, it does. It takes up the whole front half of this container. So what I am going to do, I am going to go ahead and go over this with the Mod Podge on the top. Typically, if you were doing napkins, you would let it dry. Okay. Don't have to worry too much about that with this thicker printer paper, because it kind of holds itself pretty well. And I'm going to take my brush, and I am going to kind of dab it around the rim down there so that it can kind of take the shape of that container around the rim, if that makes sense. Those little metal rings, I kind of like to see that little indentation. So if I press it down in there, that should work. And then my extra at the top, I'm just gonna snip that off because that's not even gonna show in a minute. Okay. All right. Now I am, because I want the same kind of finished look around the whole can, even though the back is really not going to be seen that much. But if you want to make and sell these, you want a consistent look all the way around. Just makes it look like a more finished product. So that's what I'm going to do. Take the rest of that and that'll also act as a sealer too. So, all right. Make sure my brush strokes are all going in the same direction in case they do show in any way. Now we're going to hit it with a little bit of heat, and we're going to finish off the top. Okay? We're doing so good on time, you guys. So good on time. I so wish I could see your comments. Let's see. Hey, Miss Lisa Brown, how are you? So pictures of your grandbaby at Grandparents' Day lunch. That was so sweet. That was so sweet. Thank you, Miss Dolores. You could Mod Podge to a feed sack or muslin. Yes, yes, you could, Mary. In fact, we have done that on a few videos in the past as well. We have Mod Podged this on all kinds of things. We've even printed these labels on muslin. In fact, let me grab this while we're drying it. We can multitask. Oh, if I can grab it behind me. I printed off, well, goodness, I'm dropping everything. I printed off one of her labels onto muslin material and made a little faux grain sack, coffee sack, you know, whatever your little thing is of your label, and made that to tuck it in with my my little tea kettle back there, which I think is so cute. Kind of goes with the coffee theme, coffee, tea. She has some tea labels too. Really, she's got all kinds of designs. What else do I have behind me that might have? Oh, our little grubby jars. This is another one of her little labels. I know you guys have seen me. Ooh, this has got cinnamon sticks sticking to it. This one is a little apple butter label. And we've used that on some little grubby jar lights. I love her labels, you guys. They're so pretty. So pretty. Oh, I messed that up. I can't redo that without breaking my neck. All right. This is drying really quick. Really quick. It still might be a little bit tacky, but what we're going to do at the top to finish it off, because I did go ahead and spray the lid, which it's just one of these like clear plastic lids at the top. I did go ahead and spray paint it, so you could technically put that on there. but I don't think it has that vintage look to it. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it, and then you can kind of look and make your own choices on what you think might work for you. Did you, Lisa? Oh, good, good. There's so many things you can do with them. I'm loving them. Loving them. Not just for jar labels, but I mean, we're doing it on containers. You could do it on, I'm even wanting to do like a washing powder little set with, she has some washing powder designs that are so cute. Wanted to make some of those. Like I said, you could print it on material. Oh, all kinds of things. Okay, I think that's pretty well good. All right, we're gonna let that sit for just a minute and cool. Okay, so let's stick that little coffee set right back in there for now. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I am gonna take, I'm not gonna take my coffee grounds, I don't think, or would we? Should we? Would we? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's not going to do much other than it might give us a little bit of the cinnamon granules as a texture, but not enough to show. So we're not going to do that. Okay. So what we will do is take some of our distressed inks, which you guys know that I love. I'm loving them, I'm loving them, I'm loving them. I'm going to go with two colors. I'm going to go with a black and a really dark brown. One is called Black Soot and one is called Walnut. So here's the walnut. It's almost like a blackish brown. And then here's the black. So you can see a little bit of the color difference. They're similar, but I'm going to, whew, I need to let that, where I added that coffee grounds, I got it a little damp. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little makeup brushes that I like to use these with, and we're first going to rub on, I don't know if this brown's going to show up a whole lot. I'm going to start with black, and if I get a little too heavy with the black in some areas, I can use the brown to kind of soften it a little bit. All we're wanting to do is kind of grunge up this container so that it looks similar to something like this. It kind of has those worn edges. All right, that's a good look without the light glaring on it a little bit too much. Okay, so focus on the edges and then areas where you think would be handled a lot, you know. Now this top rim, I will tell you, we're going to cover that, so it's not going to show a whole lot with the method that I'm going to use to embellish it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this black, I'm going to rub it at the bottom and then feather it upwards. And I will show you in just a minute. I've got to kind of add quite a bit to kind of get it to show up. And I do want to add some to the label itself, kind of blend the colors together a little bit with that black. It's just going to make it look really grungy. Old is the new. Grungy, rusted, grubby, all the things. All right, it will look a little blotchy. Just take your brush and rotate it like in a circular motion, and it will feather out those blotches. Now my lighting is going to glare off of this. There, you can kind of see a little bit right there where you kind of have that little bit discoloration that shows up, and that's what's going to give you that pretty feathered look. And then you can also, when you are finished doing this, I would probably go over it with a little quick spray sealer, very light coat, because this ink, these are water reactivated, so if it gets wet, it could, you know, change a little bit of the coloring. So just be warned. If you're not worried about that, that's no big deal. If you want some runs and some streaks, you can spritz it with just a fine mist of water, and you will see that it will kind of give you some water spotting effects with that ink. It's a really cool effect. If you want to try that out on some testing sheets, it's totally cool. All right, I am going over this label because I want some dark areas. Want some areas that look really worn, some that look not so worn, just giving it a good little look. All right, let's put the cover on that black, and then I'm going to move to this Walnut Stain color, and let's see what we get. Oh yeah, oh, I like that. Okay, let me see if I can get you a look without the light going on it. Okay, so right in here is where I'm adding the Walnut Stain already, and I love that color. Ooh, it gives a good rich tone to it. So even though you have a brown undertone of that spray paint, layering on these other inks really kind of give it a good character so that it doesn't look all solid. All right. Now you could totally cover this with some Mod Podge and add some cinnamon to it. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to do that because I think what we've got going on is just fine. All right. I'm going to add just a little bit more of this Walnut Stain color, and then I think we'll be ready to do the top. Get a good look at our time. We are doing perfect on time, you guys. By the way, I did forget to mention that this is part of a 45-minute segment on Craft Around the Clock. It's a group on Facebook where we have live crafting Monday through Friday, early morning to late at night. We have over 34,000 members in that group, and we have over 100 creators. So there's tons of inspiration that you can find in that group. If you love crafting and creating, I encourage you to check it out. It's an amazing place, you guys. All right, so I'm pulling out some good old cheesecloth, you guys. All right, so I think I like that. Now, did I get a little heavy? I don't know. That lighting is really, it's so annoying. Under normal lighting situations, you would not see that glare. There you go. Now, does that not look cool or what? We totally grunged it. We totally grunged it. All right, so I'm going to put this lid on. It's not going to show, but it is going to kind of help keep our cheesecloth intact that we're going to put on top. Okay. And I would encourage you to probably go ahead and spray paint them around, just so that that white doesn't show through your cheesecloth. This is going to be so cute. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut this. I kind of like to have it draping, you guys, and I like to kind of layer it because this cheesecloth is so thin. I do make it like double layered, if that makes sense, because I want to be able to see through it, but at the same time, I don't want to be able to see all the way through it. So if I double it or sometimes triple layer it, it kind of helps hide what's underneath without it looking totally like too much cheesecloth. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Oh, I like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of this excess off. Now, you could totally embellish it with a couple other little things right here. You could go with some vintage fabric strips, which I don't think this is long enough. You could use twine. It's almost long enough. Not quite. Almost. You could use that. I'm not going to use a red, but if you were doing something Christmas themed, that would be so cute. And then you can also, you could use raffia. You could use twine. I'm not going to use twine, but what I am going to grab, you guys, I am going to grab a sprig of our Sweet Annie. So many of you guys have been asking about this Sweet Annie. Sweet Annie is, it's just a natural. It's a natural grown plant that has lots of actually medicinal benefits to using it, but it grows in the wild. But it has a wonderful smell. And in fact, It used to be used sort of as an a natural air freshener. So if you love that kind of attribute to it, it's definitely fun to use. And I find mine on Etsy. That's where I purchase mine. It's hard. It can be hard to find. I can't find it in any of my floral shops or anywhere like Hobby Lobby or anything like that. I have to go to Etsy to find it. Okay. So it just has that, I don't know, just homey smell to it. I don't know how to describe it, you guys. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a strip of this cheesecloth now and make a little tie at the top. And then before I tie it off, actually, I'm going to go ahead and tie it first. Then I'll stick in my little sprigs of Sweet Annie. And it's totally optional. You could use muslin material for this. You could use any kind of material. You could coffee stain anything, you guys, and use it for this little project. I've got a little bit too much back here, I think. Okay. I kind of like it. Do I like it off-centered or do I not? I think I want it centered. There we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little Sweet Annie sprigs. You guys have seen me do this on a few of the jar projects that we've done. I just stick it, let me show you in just a second. Let me stick it in here. The stems are a little bit woody so that they're sturdy, which is nice. I mean, they still do have some give to them, don't get me wrong. But they're sturdy enough that you can stick them in there and they kind of hold their own without much needing to be done. So I'm going to stick mine kind of off to the sides a little bit, I think. If you wanted to do them, kind of dangle them down, you could do that. Or you could completely skip this step. So many options. I wish I had brought my barn stars over here. I think a little barn star right here in the center would be really cute. I don't think I have them over here. Okay, I kind of want these to angle down. Hold on.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Hold on. We'll get this. All right. I'm going to tilt them down a little bit. I kind of want them. Okay. I'm going to snip this one off. The stem on that one was sticking out a little bit too much. All right. How cute. How cute is that? So you could pair this with a few of your little pantry cakes, your faux bread, because this is cornmeal. I guess you could make some faux cornbread. Ha! Another idea we need to use. Or pair it with like your little pantry tarts. Now, how cute would that be? How cute. So what I like to do is I like to use my vintage scales. I love vintage scales, you guys. I have several of them that I use and decorate with. So let's just pull one over here. The one that I had out that I showed you at the beginning, we're going to pull this out. I have just a little primitive little kitchen towel draped over, but you wouldn't even have to do that if you didn't want to. You could use, I'll tell you what you could use so that it kind of ties in. You could use a little bit of cheesecloth on the top of that too. I don't know. You get the idea, the gist here, right? Lots of layering, I love. And then pair that with your little cornmeal, little tin container, and you've got a cute little combo. A cute little combo. And of course, some of the other little pieces that we've made. Oh my goodness. The rag balls. You could, if you had a coordinating rag ball that went with your kitchen towel, that would be adorable. And then another one of our little jelly jars. You could go crazy with it, you guys. You could go crazy. So I will style this up for you. Take a cute picture and stay tuned because we have another crafter coming up in the Craft on the Clock group in about 4 minutes. About 4 minutes. And I don't want you to miss them because we have live crafting all day long, Monday through Friday, you guys. So it could be possible that I may be live again this week before the week is over. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. But we'll see. But if so, I'll post it in my Facebook stories so that you won't miss those. And I've been posting photos. If you will see the photos in the video replay in the stories on my page, you can check those out. Sometimes that's easier for you to see than if I just post it on my page, if I post it in my stories. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Hopefully I've given you some ideas on how you can repurpose some trash from your kitchen, some cardboard cylinders. So get your mind working on how you can use these. Lots of ideas. And you can make multiples of these and give them as gifts. How cute would that be? Super cute. Anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you again soon. Bye.